By the end of the lesson, you are expected to be able to identify the different types of computer criminals and cyber crimes. Number two, you should be able to identify the effects of cybercrime. And lastly, you should be able to identify the targets of cyber criminals. When we speak of cybercrime, lots of concepts, lots of things come into mind. We think of fraud, hacking, spyware, identity theft, password theft, hacking, and a lot of other problems related to the use of computers. But what really is cybercrime? Right, I'll look at the Electronic Communications and Transactions Amendment Bill of 2012 of the South African Constitution. It defines cybercrime as any means of like we can say criminal activity or other offense that is facilitated by or involves the use of electronic communications or information systems, including any device or internet or any one or more of them. So this is defined under the South African Constitution. And it's committing such a crime can lead someone to prison because it's in breach of the law. Cybercrime is, we can say, very real consequences such as loss of data, money, identity, even a lot of other things like property, because people can steal we can say intellectual property, and then they can use it for their advantage. So this type of crime, that is cybercrime, anyone who uses, we can say computers these days can be a victim of this type of criminal activity. So people normally who commit such crimes commit them in the following forms. Number one, hacking, and we are going to discuss each of these in detail. Number two, cracking, so this is for software, so crackers. And then number three, cyber gangs, the same way that we have gangs in suburbs, we also have gangs on the internet. So we call these e-gangs, and then they are cyber gangs. And then we have virus authors. These are the people who spend most of their time authoring softwares, malicious softwares, which we call viruses. And then also we have spammers as part of this group of people who commit cyber crime. What are hackers? What is a hacker? We can call anyone who uses a computer skill, or can say who uses his or her own computer skills to gain unauthorized access to computer systems or data using a combination of exploits, scripts, and social engineering. That person is a hacker. So we have two types of hackers. Number one, we have white hat hackers. Now these ones help companies improve their security by trying to hack into their computers. So this is, we may call these ethical hackers, because what they do is they hack to test systems. And then when they manage to hack into the system, they advise organizations on how to sort out their softwares or their systems so that they cannot be hacked. So these ones, they do not hack for personal gain. This is not a criminal activity. It's ethical hacking in order to prevent the real hackers from stealing, from damaging, and then from, maybe we can say, committing all the types of cyber criminal activity. Then number two, we have what we call black hackers. These ones now, they illegally break into computer systems. They steal data. And in some way, they also, sometimes they end up committing maybe we can say crimes in which they delete information and data from organizations, or they can copy that information and they can encrypt it in the hope that the owners of the information may have to pay for that information to be decrypted. This is, as an example, when we deal with ransomware. Right, number two, we have crackers. Now, a cracker, we can say it's a cyber criminal who breaks other users' passwords or gain illegal access to systems with the intent to steal or compromise data, and also making unauthorized changes to it. So mostly these days, if you go to the internet and you search for pirated software, you can get Windows 10, you can get Microsoft Office 19 cracked, such that you simply install it with product key and activation key, and automatically you can use it without even purchasing a license. This is illegal. So there are people who are in that habit of just breaking. They know the product keys. They break into the software to get the product keys, and they just distribute the software, but they distribute it with other hidden agenda. Like, for instance, they might include a virus in the software, which when you install thinking it's free, then that virus is going to damage your software, your hardware. A cracker also, we can say, or we can refer to it as a person who creates tools, or maybe we can say also software cracks. These tools can be software cracks that allow software to be pirated and used illegally. Number three, we have cyber gangs. This is a group of people who work together to commit computer crimes. They work together to commit computer crime. Often the gang members, they specialize in different tasks, right? With the belief that a large proportion of active computer crime, we can say, is committed by such gangs of computer criminals. The creation, management, and renting out of botnets demands the work of more than one person. So we have a lot of people who work together to achieve a criminal activity online. And then sometimes we call these cyber terrorists. They work together to attack. Even in some cases, we have cases where government's websites have been attacked because they are demanding something to be done in their favor. So they work in groups to achieve their objectives. Then we have virus authors. We can define an author as just maybe someone who writes the code for a computer virus or other form of malware. And this is a crime because the viruses are meant to cause damage, be it to software or hardware. And in the event, companies and individuals, they tend to lose quite large sums of money when they try to retrieve their data, or when they try to buy, maybe we can say, anti-virus softwares to clean up their computers. We have many categories of virus authors, and as examples, we have those who write the code as an intellectual exercise. That is a sort of proof of concept that they know how to do it. And still on this section, from grade 10, ever since I started teaching IT, the first thing that IT learners come and ask is, are you going to teach us how to create a virus? And this is the reason why sometimes grade 10, we have more learners joining, and then later on during the year, you start to see them dropping when they discover that, no, we are not there to commit cybercrime. Number two, we have those authors who write viruses as a job. They create viruses for other cyber criminals who need a tool to infect computers so that they can create or expand their botnet. So we have this group that takes it as a job, as a service for others. And then thirdly, we have those who create virus templates that people who want to try hacking can buy, modify, and use. Their clients are called script kids for the script. So they create templates, and then if you want to have a virus that can maybe damage all word processing documents, you can just buy that template and you can modify it. You can put maybe your credentials, but obviously people who create viruses, they want to remain anonymous. So they use pseudonyms so they can change, and then they are able to distribute their virus. So we have mainly three types of virus authors. That is intellectual, those who do it for a job, as a job, and then lastly, those who do it to sell to others. And then the sixth type of cyber criminal is spammers. Now, these ones, they send out unsolicited email, usually as adverts, getting email addresses from online databases or by trolling websites looking for email addresses. So they get the addresses, and then these people, mostly they sell the email addresses to marketing companies for a large sum of money. These days, with the use of WhatsApp, these people, what they do is they can send promotions on WhatsApp where you have to fill in your details, email number, maybe email address, maybe also they can say send your phone numbers, and maybe you forward to 10 other people, and then what they are simply doing is they are collecting the credentials so that they can sell them to other people. So these are spammers. Is it a crime? Yes, it is a crime, because also these emails can also spread malware as viruses and spyware. Why is it bad? Because it clogs the internet. That is spam or adverts, unwanted adverts in your inbox. They end up clogging the internet, taking lots and lots of space of your storage. With, maybe we can say also, they cause unnecessary traffic, which in the end impacts the speed of your computer or internet connection, and it wastes your time. We said earlier that cybercrime is any crime committed by using ICT as a tool. It has some advantages for the criminals as well. Number one, there is low risk of physical danger as compared to real life criminals. They are in danger. They can easily be spotted and can easily be arrested. Whereas cyber criminals, they hide in the cloud using pseudonyms. Even they can use VPN to hide their IP addresses such that they cannot be traced. Cybercrime sometimes it's difficult to detect. Number 3, it's difficult to trace who commit the crime. And we divide cybercrime in 2 main categories, which is number 1, theft. Number 2, abuse and extortion. So we are going to look at each of these 2 in detail. In theft, there is theft of physical computer equipment, such as mobile devices for resale, data on different kinds of devices. Mobile devices these days, there are lots of people out there in the streets looking for the devices to steal, and then they resell. Fortunately, sometimes the service providers, they can block the device from being used on all the networks in South Africa. But the only disadvantage is if these devices are taken outside the borders, then they can work there outside. Whereas in South Africa, they won't be able to be used. Number 2, there's theft of intellectual property, which is digital piracy. If you pirate a software, maybe we can say media such as videos, music, that is intellectual property that you are stealing. You are depriving the owner or the producer from earning money from what that person maybe spent several hours trying to produce, and then you simply want to get it for free. That is intellectual property that you are stealing. Number 3, identity theft. This is stealing personal details through phishing. And then these people, sometimes they pretend to be you when they go online and apply for credit in your name. They can buy things using your details. And then when it comes to being blacklisted, it's you who is going to be blacklisted because someone used your credentials. Number 4, for financial gain, theft of money, directly or fraud. We have cases, several cases of people who have lost their money at the ATM machines. This person comes to try to assist and steals the card as well as the PIN, and all the money in the account is gone. So this is for financial gain. Then theft of data, which we can call as well espionage. That data is stolen so that it can be sold and also can be used for blackmail and can be used to cause damage. How is it stolen? Number 1, by copying it directly onto removable media. The USB has many advantages and disadvantages. It's easy for someone to just come with a USB connected to the computer if the user is not logged out, and then data can be copied easily. Through access to network resources online, there are people who intercepts the flow of information on the internet or networks, and they can steal the information and sell it. The use of malware as a tool, again, such as rootkits, viruses, spyware, or other malware to steal data. Then we also have backdoor, which is, we can define it as a hidden way to gain access to a computer, a system, or software. Mostly this is part of a firmware of a device. This is embedded in the firmware, that is the software that is used to control that device, and it's hidden in the software. And then the advantage for the criminal is it allows that person to bypass all the security checks, like, for instance, entering the password, entering the username. All that is bypassed, and then the person can have access to the system and do whatever he or she wants. Then we have theft of resources. Criminals also use other people's resources without paying for them. This is the norm today, where if you have, as an example, you have Wi-Fi at home, your neighbors can also steal it without your knowledge. There are various apps that are there on, we can say, Google Store, on the App Store, that can be freely downloaded, and then people can misuse them by gaining access into other people's networks. So we have what we call piggybacking, that is using someone else's internet connection without paying for it, often through Wi-Fi. And then the owner is the one who pays for the data. Number two, we have botnet, using malware to gain control of multiple computers without the users knowing it. The resources of these computers can then be used to spread malware, commit fraud, launch DDoS, which is denial of service, network attacks, and to send spam. So this is used to overwhelm a network with messages, and then the networks go down. So the botnet, mostly the DDoS, is used sometimes to attack governments by cyber terrorist organizations. We have, again, the second main category of cybercrime, which is abuse and extortion. And then in this, we have basically 4 categories. The first 2 are cyberbullying and cyberstalking. Cyberbullying is when someone uses ICT to malign, to mock, to embarrass, to threaten, or to intimidate another person. They use different tools on the internet. Number 1, such as instant messaging, SMS. They can use email. They can use social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and so forth. So what they do is they target a person, and then they start to send offensive messages. They can also create a page, a hate page, web page, or they can simply call the person. This is cyber bullying. So bullying using electronic means. And as we said earlier, this is part of cyber crime, which is illegal. Then cyber stalking is another type of crime in which the attacker harasses a victim using electronic communication. So in a way, it's the same as cyberbullying in a way. And then they use also emails, instant messaging, messages posted to a website or a discussion group. Then the second part, we have extortion and blackmail, which is one way or the other is the same. And then this one, these people, they threaten to disrupt a service. Then they also say, okay, we are going to reveal damaging information about whatever, and then you have to pay for it. If you do not want that information to be disclosed. With the advent of, or we can say, with the evolution in electronic communication, in the social media, such as with WhatsApp, being used on a day-to-day basis, and maybe we can say it's part of life. There are lots of people who tend to get photos, and then it's a crime these days. You get photos of someone, maybe nude pictures, and then you try to threaten that person that I'm going to distribute it on the social media. That is extortion, that is blackmail, and it's a crime. And the end result of all this is someone is looking for money to be paid. So it's a crime that is destroying, maybe we can say, the identity of other electronic media users or the internet users. Then thieves also commit crimes to steal people's money and their identity, as we said earlier. With the identity, these cyber criminals can, number one, take out loans, they can incur credit, and then they can accumulate debt and then flee without trace, because it's very, very difficult to track cyber criminals. They can send viruses to destroy someone's files, and lost database can result in receiving unwanted sales calls for companies. So cybercrime is being committed every day. Thieves commit cyber crimes to steal people's money, their identity, and to damage reputations of other people. The most immediate effects of a crime are, number one, money is lost due to online theft. It's an effect. Number two, expenses incurred to fix problems and prevent future cyber crimes. So let's say, for instance, the software has been compromised. The company, if it's an individual company, they have to fork out money to sort out the problem. And also they have to fork money to buy antiviruses and anti-spyware. So this is a loss in terms of company expenditure. Then number three, loss of reputation due to personal information that is revealed, corrupted files due to viruses. So there is also loss of reputation. If you deal with a company that is compromised, then their reputation and your reputation as well is questionable. Long-term debt created, resulting in poor credit rating due to online identity theft. This is another effect of cybercrime, which is bad. And then for businesses, the effects of cybercrime can be devastating. There is loss of revenue, either directly or in terms of other overheads related to their need to protect themselves against cybercrime, as well as any potential downtime. So for businesses, there is a great impact and a great, we can say, loss of revenue. Then also, in terms of reputation, the business reputation is damaged. These days, you won't be able to deal with a company that you know. Let's say, for instance, if Facebook servers are compromised, then you won't be able, or you wouldn't want to create an account with Facebook or to deal with them in any way, because you would be afraid that your information would be compromised. The sad reality is cybercrime is now part of modern life. There is no way that we are going to be able to do away with cybercrime. In grade 11, grade 10, there were measures that were taken in terms of computer management. And these ones can be used to safeguard against computer crime, threats, and computer criminals. Number one, you need to install and upgrade the antivirus software to update it almost, maybe we can say after every week, because there are new viruses that are being created every day. The second thing that needs to be done in order to safeguard against cybercrime is to use firewall. And a firewall, as we discussed in the previous lesson, a firewall guards or prevents unwanted programs that wants to infiltrate your computer, your system. So firewalls need to be used in order to safeguard problems related to cyber crimes. Then the software needs to be kept up to date. Then being aware of current trends in computer crime is also a good idea. Just research on the internet the different criminal activities that is taking place on the internet, and then you will be able to safeguard yourself against those unwanted illegal activities. Then also you need to be able to keep your information secure. You need to follow a good password policy through the use of symbols, numbers, letters, a combination of those. And then most of these days, coming up with this, if you are working on the internet, some websites, they give you directions, indications on how to come up with a good password. Right, the cyber criminals also, they don't just attack, they have goals. They have goals that they want to achieve. And depending on the goals, we have different types of cyber criminals. There are some who only concentrate on hardware hacking, some software hacking, and then we have others who go for information and website hacking. And then we have the fourth group that targets bandwidth theft, and then we have services theft. So these are the 5 categories that we have, depending on the goals that these cyber criminals want to achieve. So we look at this one at a time. We start with the hardware hacking. This one, their aim is to attack specific pieces of hardware. They can decide to hack into the router, into the server, but with the aim of getting something, data, information, or to use that hardware. Okay, their goal is to unlock the hardware in order to give the owner access to features that are normally logged. So some, they use this to gain entrance in protected facilities, which mostly these days are computerized. So once they hack into the system, they gain security, they can steal. Even in banks, they use computerized systems for access. So these criminals, they target such systems with the hope that they can gain entry and commit crime. Number 2, we have software hacking, which is achieved by finding software exploits and breaking software protection to gain unauthorized access to the software itself or gain remote access to the computer. So their objective is to remove whatever protection that is within the system, so that instead of buying it, they can use it for free. And usually this is illegal. So this is what pirates, software pirates do. They gain access to the section of the software that requires the product key and activation key, and they manipulate it so that it can be used without requiring the tool. Number 3, we have information and website hacking, which is done to insert harmful programs by, we can say, inserting malicious codes into the website with the main objective to steal users' personal email addresses, passwords, credit card information if it's e-commerce, bandwidth and services as well. They need to steal that. And then they might also want to build a database of common usernames and passwords. And then number 3, to deface the website or place political messages on the website. This is for political gain or to just denigrate a person. Usually in politics, they do that. They just hack into someone's website and then they start posting whatever they want so that that person can lose popularity, right? And then reroute traffic from the website to a phishing website. So hackers, they are capable of rerouting the traffic to a phishing website. How is it done? For instance, you can receive a message purporting from being a bank, from a bank, but the email address or the website address is maybe manipulated, written in a way that you would think it belongs to the bank, but it's not a bank address. And then you just click, and then you are there, and you just enter your PIN codes, and the hacker, the criminal, just collects that and is able to do transactions using your accounts. Number 4, we have bandwidth theft. This occurs when someone links to a file on your website or server from your, we can say from their website, and then they can link it to a video, and then that video uses your bandwidth. Then 5th, we have services theft, which occurs to the internet whenever someone illegally uses a username and password to access an online service. This brings us to the end of today's content, and we have a few questions to just refresh, and mostly they are theory questions, which are at the end of the chapter, which is chapter 7. And here we go. The first one, which says, in fact, choose the correct answer. Then we have a person who writes a computer virus is called, then we have a hacker, a virus author, a cracker, a cyber gang. So the most probable answer there is C, which is a virus author. And then B, anyone who uses their computer skills to gain unauthorized access to computer systems or data, that person is called a hacker. It's a person who uses his or her computer skills to gain access to a computer system or data. That's a hacker. And then B, they may break into computer systems for a variety of reasons, from stealing data to testing their skills to making political statements. If you check a hacker, a virus author, a cracker, this is a cracker. D, a group of people who work together to commit cybercrime. This is cybercrime. This one is a cyber gang or a hacker gang group. Number E, This virus allows the virus author to control the computer it is infected from anywhere in the world. We are living in a global village. So let's look, we have a backdoors, and then we have remote control, botnet, internet fraud. So this virus allows the virus author to control the computer is infected from anywhere. So this one is probably B. We have a virus. This is a virus. We have a virus called remote control that does that. And then it refers to a wide variety of scams used to steal money from people on the internet. This one, backdoors, no botnets, no, it's to do with denial of service, and then remote control is a virus. So this answer is internet fraud. Then number 9, it refers to several computers connected by the same virus who can work together to perform attacks. Then the answer there is botnets, right? Then H, a secret entrance that computer programs build into their programs, that computer programmers built into their programs, a secret entrance, which is H. This one is what we call a backdoor. Then this type of hacking is used to steal users' personal information for identity fraud. We call it information and website hacking. And then the last slide for the activity, which is on J. When one website uses the images stored on the hosted by another website, this one, it's a service that is being stolen. So it's service that is stolen. And then K, this occurs when employees spend their time not doing work, but instead browsing Facebook and watching videos, YouTube. This is called that's K. This is part of information and website hacking as well. Then I, when someone illegally uses a username and password to gain access to an online service, we call this service theft. And then when finding software exploits, hackers look for weaknesses in an application security, then this one is software hacking, right? Then for tomorrow, we are looking at consolidation work and looking at past exam papers. And that brings us to the end of the lesson, and we used the free ebook and start opportunities. IT is great. Thank you for attending the lesson.